Today, we're talking with Maria Greicer, Vice President of Partnerships at Keymakr and Keylabs.ai, about how it's all about the data. Welcome, listeners, to BeyondSaaS. I'm Jason Neidel, and I'm the founder of Tethos, and we solve growth problems for tech companies through strategy design, email campaigns, educational campaigns, and more. Today, I'm really excited to talk to Maria. She is, as I mentioned, the VP of Partnerships, and these are two related organizations. Keymakr is a nearly decade-old data annotation company that provides high-quality training data solutions. Think video annotations and object classifications, and even where needed, they've created data and images to supply information. They basically help computers understand the data that they're getting. And Keylabs.ai is their newest venture. It's a one-of-a-kind platform that allows machine learning teams to actually manage their enterprise-level annotation projects. So you have the data solutions company and you have the platform side. Maria, I think you're a really intriguing guest. You recently served as a CEO of an AI-powered content curator. At Keymakr, you're working with enterprise clients on these really complex technical solutions, and you have this cool background in entrepreneurial management, including time in the military in an emergency care unit, literally making life or death decisions. So I'm really curious to hear what you have to say about growth here. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for the introduction.
Do you have a quick tip for our listeners?
So my favorite book, actually, it was recommended to me by one of the top executives in Israel tech industry, Shai Schiller. He recommended this book maybe 12 years ago or so. It's called Strategic Selling by Robert Miller. I would say that's old book, but that's one book that never gets old, and I really learned a lot from it. It's definitely worth a read for anyone who's dealing with growth, companies, and sales.
Strategic Selling by Robert Miller. That's perfect. So it's been difficult to find women in tech to get on the podcast. Why do you think that is, and what needs to change?
That's a very good question. I find it interesting too. It's there's not that many women in tech for some reason. From my observation, there are fewer reasons for it. First, as tech always has been an industry more driven by men. So technology, think of development. When people think of technology, they think, okay, we need to be developers. We need to be to understand technology, to understand deep down how it works. So it's kind of scary. So maybe my thinking is for women, the perception is, okay, it's too complicated. I don't want to get into this. I need to be I would say it's a totally wrong concept. I need to be a good developer in order to be in tech. A disclaimer, I don't know how to code. I don't want to. It's not relevant to anything that I do. And it's not relevant to technology. It's a simple, it's do you know how to use a hammer in order to build a house? You don't need to. Right.
Does the architect need to know how to use the hammer? Not necessarily, right?
Exactly. It's the same thing. I think this misconcept has been around for a while. That's one. Second, it's I don't know, it's just a perception, and I see it everywhere. I worked globally, I'm originally from Israel, so I started my career in Israel. I lived in Europe. I lived in the United States. Right now I'm in Canada, so everywhere I would say it's the same. Women are in a way encouraged, but there are not that many women who dare or want or see themselves in tech. And I think it should really change. Tech is amazing. And I, as a woman, I think we should, we have so much to contribute, and it's a little bit different thinking and approach in more places in tech. It definitely helps.
It's fun. I've met so many men in tech who say, oh, it's not just tech, it's about relationships. And yet I've also met so many men in tech who are not very good at relationships.
Actually, it is. It is. I would say everything. Well, depends what you do, but let's say in management roles, it's everything about relationships. Usually for women, it's the natural thing to develop relationships and to understand people, to be more, to understand emotions and understand what's driving people. So it's a great thing. I think women definitely have advantage in tech industry, and it should be used.
Hey, it's Jason with a 10-second note from our sponsor, Tethos. I wanted to offer you our Hypergrowth Playbook. It's a free guide that I put together, a compilation of our first 20 or so episodes of learning from the show, which includes book recommendations, golden nuggets, and the amazing learnings from all these tech leaders. Simple to get it. Just drop the word growth in the comments and I'll send it to you, or head on over to tethos.com/playbook, and that's tethos.com/playbook, and you'll have it right there. All right, back to our episode. I've had several guests also say that with AI, that raises this new threshold of everything has to be better than the AI. And where will we be better as humans than AI comes with relationships and emotions, right? So that should really bring more women into the field, hopefully.
Yep, I definitely.
So tell me a little bit about Keymakr and Keylabs.
Okay, so Keymakr and Keylabs, we started from Keymakr. Keymakr is a data annotation company. So we create training data for machine learning models. So it's a very niche thing to do, I would say. We work only with visual data. So images, videos, and I would say most interesting thing for me that's unique in this business is that we get to deal with many different clients from literally every industry that's out there. We work with companies like Intel and General Electric and automotive suppliers, automotive manufacturers, and everybody creates something different. The use case, the product is different, but the building block of training the AI is the same. How you train the AI, like those like building blocks, the training data, how you create this training data is the same technique that applies to everybody. So we are basically a supplier of this technique, a supplier of this building block that creates custom training to specific use cases. So, for example, autonomous driving cars. We annotate videos for lane recognition, traffic sign recognition, pedestrian behavior prediction, in-cabin monitoring. By the way, it's like a new thing. And I don't know if you know, like new cars will have cameras not only facing outside, but also inside, but have the camera looking at you, tracking your eyes, where you're looking, your facial expressions, and then deciding, are you tired? Are you distracted? Are you looking back at your kids and they're distracting you? So it's more like a driving safety application. Also for understanding where to place important controls in the vehicle. So where you get to look most, what's like your most like easy points to look at.
Yeah.
And based on that, right now it's a new technology that's being developed.
That's cool.
Based on that, the new cars that will hit the market in like 2 years, 3 years from now will not have the controls at the same spot that they have right now. It will be more strategically placed for functions that you actually need that are easy to monitor
Love
and easy
that.
to
Yeah.
reach. So many different use cases. So I would say like for me, it's the most exciting part about our company, like our business, that we get exposed to all these different new AI applications. They basically know what's going to be in the market and like agriculture, healthcare, automotive, like 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. That's not even released yet.
You have a little peek into the future,
Yeah,
huh?
sort of.
So episode 41, we had a gentleman named Jim Kernan from Luxonis. And Luxonis makes a lot of the cameras that feed the data for your data sets. So he was really interesting as well. Now tell me about also Keylabs.
Keylabs is our baby. So when we started providing annotations as a service, you do need a platform to do it efficiently. You do need a powerful tool to create the annotations, to basically capture the human input. So Keylabs was initially created for in-house use, for us to use as our own tool for working on our own projects. But then we started, it's kind of organic growth that we'll talk about a bit later, I guess. It's a great thing. Like basically we started to get requests for this product to be licensed to our clients independently before we even launched, like before we even thought about it. So basically our client said like, okay, what tool are you using? Show it to us. We're like, okay, it was not pretty at the beginning. It was just like very simple, functional user interface for internal use. So it doesn't need to be easy or intuitive. People that work for us, like our employees, know how to use it. So it was just like very like simple, robust tool. Nothing pretty. And companies started to ask to license it for their use. We kind of separated the company and we packaged it. We packaged Keylabs as a separate product that right now you can either have our service as full service, basically the annotation and the annotation tool, or just the tool. So if you have a team in-house or you already have like companies you're working with, you can use the tool separately. So actually, I would say that's a great example of demand coming before the product is actually, like, before the product is created in a way. Because in order to package it, like in order to create a separate product, we had to, of course, do a lot of development, hire developer, additional developers for like the packaging, make it pretty, make it user friendly. So which is a lot of time, money, and effort. But we already knew when we were doing this effort that yes, we have clients waiting in line to get this product, and we're doing this for them, so we know exactly what's our, like, what we're starting from, like what's in a way our expected revenue is, and it's not a guess. So I would say that's just from, I've been working in startups for almost like 20 years. I would say that's the biggest issue many technology companies face, is that somebody or group of people, educated people, smart people, assume that certain product is going to be amazing and everybody wants it. This is brilliant. We're doing it right now. And which might be a right assumption, but for a very limited number of people. So they put a lot of money and effort and development and creating all these amazing features. There's like so many features. It does everything. It's like all in one, like all these buzzwords. And then they release it to the market after like few millions invested in the product and like a couple years of time invested in it, and then nobody buys. And it's just like this story is too common, and it killed too many companies, and it keeps killing companies. And I think it's, in kind of my perspective, it's a completely wrong approach, first creating the product and sending it to the market. And my approach, this approach I believe in, sure that many others have the same approach. First you sell the product, then you create the product.
And that's not always easy to do, but I think in your case, it's a brilliant application of that theme there, where literally the demand was first and then you spun the product out afterwards. So I love that.
Exactly.
So let's talk growth. How do you track your KPIs? What are the most important things that you're looking at in terms of growth? And, what are you focused on? What's your goal for this year?
So first of all, what is growth? So I would say first question, like the revenue or the profit or the number of clients or the number of active
data
clients,
particles.
or how, like the size of the client, or like the significance of the service that we deliver. Like, what is considered growth? So I would say that's kind of the first. Again, there's no right or wrong answer here, but that's my favorite thing. Like, okay, define what do we mean by growth? Because now the company come to us and say like, okay, we want growth. Let's say, or you're your VP sales at the company, and your investors telling you, okay, we need growth. Like, okay, what exactly do you mean? So at least like the way I see growth, so like few aspects to it. First of all, of course, it's logos, like clients that we have. The more the merrier in a way. Second is the total revenue that we receive. And sometimes it's very not proportional number of clients to the total revenue, to the total income. Sometimes it gets from different companies, like in my previous company. Sometimes having one or two clients, in a way, it's more profitable than having 60.
But maybe more dangerous as well.
Yes, way more dangerous, but it's more profitable. So if you want to show like pure growth, like revenue wise, then I guess there is no right answer. Like so many aspects go into it. So how we measure growth right now? Of course, it's number of clients, new clients. It's retention. It's very, very important. So, okay, if let's say we signed a large contract this year, for how many years this contract is actually going to be in place? Like, what's the lifetime value of this client? What are the chances to renewing the contract? What are the chances of upselling? So it all kind of goes into calculation. Then, of course, the revenue per client, revenue per contract, total revenue, like how much we actually make this year. And of course, what are our expenses? Because this is something actually I see, I try to be very careful of. Story that happens again and again. It happened to me a few times in different companies, including Keymakr. Like we kind of we win a large contract or two or three. And we're like, okay, great. Now we should now we should invest back in us. Let's hire more people, hire more salespeople. Let's hire more developers because we need developers. Let's hire more operations because to deliver the service, we need more operations. And then we just like scale up. We're growing too quickly, scaling up too quickly. And what happens If, let's say, the client decides to pause, or there is, I would say last few years, we had few ups and downs in economy, like in the global economy. The economy goes up, and then COVID hits and everything goes down, and it goes up again, and then the war breaks in one place, and then war breaks in another place. So the global economy is not stable. So kind of taking that into consideration when you're planning growth, and overspending, I would say it's pretty important. And it's very, I would say, in growth wise, it's important, but it should be very, in my opinion, should be very careful. I would prefer scaling up slowly but steady instead of just exploding. And then the danger of exponential growth, essentially, it's very dangerous because it can kill a company. I saw it killing other companies. It can kill a company very quickly. You just have all the spendings, and suddenly one of your revenue, like on one of your cash flows, stops being there. And then, like, okay, what you do with this $500,000 spending per month? Like, what do you do with all those people? Like, how do you cut expenses? And then, like, it just makes the whole operation, whole company collapse. So, like, I would say good thing about Keymakr, our strategy here, is that we're very, yes, we want growth, but we don't want to have too much growth. Essentially, it has to be controlled.
Managed growth.
Yes, it has to be controlled. It has to be steady. And we are always try to be as conservative as possible in terms of scaling up and spending.
So what are you doing to reach new people? How do people hear about you?
Our favorite thing always has been, is conferences. It's professional conferences. We do go to, I would say, at least like 20 conferences per year across the globe. Now, conferences, we're in a way lucky that we have so much supply of conferences because we work in multiple domains like agriculture, automotive, etc. We literally can pick up any tech conference that talks about AI in any specific domain, go there and find potential clients. So that's not always the case for everybody. But again, going to conferences in my, like, even from different companies, like previous companies I worked with or other businesses I know, conferences tend to be B2B. I'm talking only about B2B. Conferences, professional conferences tend to be number one source of leads. First, there's nothing that replaces human connection. Like when you actually meet the person and you speak with the person and you shake hands and you go to drinks and you spend some time together, no AI or nothing can replace that. It's like human connection. And of course, first of all, impression, like you actually have a live person in front of you, you remember them, you want to talk to them, you're way more likely to do business with a person that you met than with somebody you never met or just spoke on the phone. Video helps, but like if you never met, like, I would say text messages, like emails, that's kind of the bottom of the food chain, like the least effective. If you spoke with the person on the phone, that gets the chances up. If you saw the person, even video calls, that helps. That gets the chances even higher to have business with them. When you met the person, if you met somebody versus you have like two suppliers, one of them you met in person, the other one you did not, you're more likely to sign up a contract, even if it's more expensive, with the one you met in person.
Do you have any hints for trade shows, conferences? Like, are you setting up meetings in advance? Are you guys spending your budget on a booth or on events? Like, what makes it effective for you?
So that I would say really depends on the conference, depends on what we're trying to achieve from a conference. And one of the things about conferences, yes, it's great, but it can be super expensive. So like 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, you have some booths at the conference that cost like 400,000 or $500,000 just for one booth. Yeah. For larger companies. So it can be very expensive. Now, in a way, we operate as a startup. In a way, though we're not a startup already. We've been around for a while, like over 8 years. But we still try to operate as a startup. So in conferences, we would never, at least our approach, again, it depends on the company's budget, but to kind of be more conservative, first question is, do we need a booth or we don't need a booth? And it's really depending on the conference and whom we are going to meet there. Because some conferences, you don't really need a booth. You don't need to spend like $10,000, $20,000 on having a booth when you actually achieve more by walking around, by just meeting people or setting up meetings in advance. So that's number one. Like, it doesn't have to be expensive. Number two, so when you do have a booth for startups, especially, conferences always have like a special promotions or special programs that you can apply to, and it brings the cost down by like sometimes 10 times for the same thing. If you're a startup or you have like a cool technology or you have like something interesting, it's not just like another one. There definitely almost every conference offers those special programs. You have to look for them, but it can be, first of all, a huge cost saver when you do have finance programs and apply. And second, it's great promotion because you get this like extra attention because like you're kind of in advance. The conference promotes you as like a cool new product to all attendees, and you're not even paying for it. So that's, I would say, conference planning, and the regular stuff, setting up meetings in advance if possible. Sometimes it's not possible, but there's always a prep. There's always you can't just like take a ticket, book a booth, and go to a conference. It doesn't work this way. Like collaboration work between marketing, sales, and everybody who attends. So I would say like a collaboration here, good preparation, and collaboration between all the teams, all the people who attend. It's very, very important.
So I like to look at constraints in growth because I think the way to growth is to figure out what's constraining me and what's stopping me and solve that, and then do it again, and soon you have growth, right? So if you looked at it internally at what you're doing, what do you think is holding you back from growing faster?
On our side, so it's few factors. First of all, it's our internal operations. So yes, we provide, we're a service provider to high-tech companies, but we are in a way a low-tech service by itself because we involve a lot of human operation. So to provide training data, it's basically training data is ground truth, at least the part that we provide. So we provide the ground truth. Ground truth means we have to have human force for creating this data. People, it's complicated, because you have to hire people, you have to fire people, you have to manage people, you have to make sure that people are doing their work. So in a way, in our specific case, the human operation is essential. It's the core of our business. It's like human labeling operation, but it's also a bottleneck that prevents us from growing faster, because again, it's expensive. Like if we bring somebody in, if we say we hire 20 or 50 new people. Currently we have over 500. So say if we hire like 50 more people, if suddenly we don't have projects, we still have to pay them, right? So it's like, okay, like where's this? It's always like a game in a way. It's always a juggle. Like, okay, like how many people we need to have in reserved in order to deliver all our obligations to the clients and deliver on time versus where it's too much, like where do we stop so we don't kill ourselves by just like overhiring. But this is the case with all the human operations. So that's difficult. Now, another thing that at least I find challenging is contracts renewal. And that's really depends on the business. Some businesses have contracts for 10 years. In our case, it can be short contract for, let's say, on-demand project, or it can be like a year-long engagement, or 2 years, or 3 years, or 5 years long engagement. It really varies. So there's those different types of engagements that we cater, because we work with large organizations, but also startups. So demand, or what needs to be done, on project length and budget can vary a lot. Basically planning our operations and recurring revenue, it's always been a challenge, still a challenge, because we don't, let's say, if we have like a year-long contract, we don't know what's going to happen in next year. So, okay, how we're mitigating this risk? Like, how are we planning our internal operations? Again, we don't have all those people there doing nothing, and we pay them salary if the contract is not renewed. And on the other hand, like, how do we make sure that the contract is renewed, but it's not always up to us, right? It's like what client needs, what their budgets, or what their AI development stage right now. So there's this I would say significant chunk of uncertainty that we have to face and plan for and regard all the time. And that's again, that's like hard to plan budgets or expand or like say hire more SaaS people, hire more developers when we don't know what's going to happen in terms of our revenue next year. So that's sort of a block. I would say another bottleneck.
Yeah, and I imagine that almost if you do things right in many companies, when you train their models, then there's nothing more to train for some organizations, right? You've done what needs to be done at some time.
Yes and no. So usually company does not evolve around one model. So if they are tending to specific use case, for example, autonomous driving, it's not just one model for recognizing traffic signs in US. It would be model for recognizing traffic signs in US, Europe, Caribbean, South America, Japan, other Asian countries. So it's the same model, but with different applications. So every application needs training. Then again, it's not just this model for traffic signs. It's also model for pedestrian recognition, for road lanes, for asphalt, for like a whole bunch of other things. So it's like never one product. It's never like one model. Like we train one model and have like a long line of others that needs to be that needs training data. So that's in a way for us, it's a good thing. And it's always changing. It's dynamic.
So churn is one of the well, not churn, but turnover is one of the built-in problems. So you're always having to bring in new people. And then I imagine you have a lot of startups and some of them succeed and some of them don't.
Yep.
So you really just don't know who's going to be here in 2 years from now with the world changing the way it's changing all the time.
Yep. Actually, that's we get to work with a lot of startups, and that's something that we see sometimes. Startup that got funding, a few $1 million, that develop AI technology, which is hot topic right now, and then they just run out of capital and the project dies. So it kind of goes back to the first point we discussed.
Yeah. Is there anything that we should know about AI? Anything that surprises you? You have this little glimpse into the future. What's kind of surprising or interesting that a lot of people might not know?
The way I see AI, I know lots of like talks about it, that AI is scary, AI is going to take over the world, nobody needs humans anymore. That's like when I even talking to somebody, like they ask me like, "Oh, what you do?" I work in AI. That's the response that I usually get. But I don't think this is right. I think AI is an amazing thing that's going to change changing our life for better right now. Technology is just as good as any technology product is as good as the use. So having the most amazing sophisticated technology that has no use, like will not doesn't take us anywhere. So I think in terms of development and new products, I would say exciting future in front of us in the next couple of years, like in any industry, in agriculture, like smart farming, medical. Also, we work a lot with medical. I'd say that's one of my favorite industries, given my background as well. It's medical background. So medical is amazing. Things that are developed right now is insane. So you can help emergency rooms to identify critical cases immediately. Something that before would take a few minutes, hours, or any delay in it would cause death, essentially. So here we're looking at technologies that are going to be already implemented partially, but are going to be implemented even more, that save lives, that help enhance human life. Also in medical, for example, elderly care, smart cameras in homes where older people live by themselves. Up till now, we have these devices that people have to click or do something if something happens. Right now, it's like totally autonomous. It's new technology, totally autonomous cameras that doesn't transmit this to anybody because we have to keep people's privacy private. But if a person falls or does movements that are not natural, it's recognized by AI, and then help is immediately requested. So again, here it helps to save life. So somebody before that would otherwise get a heart attack alone in the home, and it will be discovered a few days after this happened, right now would be prevented immediately by smart technology. So there's like a lot of life-enhancing products coming up. And I personally don't think we should be scared or wary that machines are going to take over the world, because that's not a machine. Is just like the product. The machine is just as smart as we make it and as useful as we put it to use.
Any final words before I let you go here? Any final thoughts?
I think that's all. Glad
No
to
problem.
be here. I'm happy I can share some of my knowledge and experience. And I hope
No,
maybe one final. I hope to see more women in tech industry, especially in sales and product roles for some, especially in sales. For some reason, in tech sales, there's not that many women, and I think women would do amazing. And it's hope to encourage people to do that.
I really enjoyed this. Where can our audience find you?
Well, my LinkedIn, Maria Greicer. My email, maria@keymakr.com. Always
And
happy to talk.
Keymakr.
At Keymakr.
And Keymakr is spelled Keymakr.com, Keymakr.com. Maria, thank you so much for being on Beyond SaaS. For the tech leadership out there, we're committed to growth. We're dropping episodes twice a week now on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And you can find me, Jason Neidl, at tethos.com. That's TETHOS.com, where you can grab that hyperscale playbook at tethos.com/podcast. So if you got some value today, please go ahead and share the episode or leave questions or comments. We really appreciate that here. And until next time, this is Beyond SaaS.